Welcome to a DCS Spitfire stress test for the engine. What we're going to do in this video is we are going to run the engine at 3000 RPM and 18 boost. And we're going to time how long it takes before the engine pops. Now I'm going to just putting the radiators on full open, so let's just check. Okay, there they are opening up. Radiators are full open. And I've been running, say, 2100 RPM and relatively low boost for the last couple of minutes, so the engine is cool. And then we're going to go to full RPM and full boost in a few seconds, and we're running at about 200 feet above sea level, so relatively close to sea level. I might just drop us down a bit closer to the waves. We'll also be able to keep an eye on our airspeed. So let's now go RPM to max RPM, and we'll just push the boost forward. Watching the stability of the aircraft as we do so. Can't shove this forward too quickly. Okay, we're now 18 pounds and 3000 RPM. So let's see how many minutes we go for. I'm expecting about 5 minutes. And we can see the airspeed there passing through 300 now. We are descending a fraction. $310. Okay, I'm just going to trim a little bit. Nose down as well. Very hard to maintain level because the trim seems to have quite a big effect on the nose. Okay, we're holding 312 or so miles per hour indicated, which is really quite slow. I'm very surprised that this aircraft is going that slow. 315 maybe. We're at sea level. The Spitfire 1A could actually hold 309 miles per hour at full RPM and full boost, although the radiators would have to be closed to about half, and I've got mine full open. Now we're sitting on 310. I'm going to keep the radiator fully open because we'll conduct a second test with the auto rad after this one, and we'll see how it fares. Just confirm the radiators are still wide open. Yep, as you can see, radiators still wide open. Still sitting on 310 miles per hour indicated, which is quite close to true airspeed because we're so low. A few miles off probably. Here that engine's really working. Okay, we've managed to get up to 320 indicated, but we are in a slight dive, so that's probably not indicative of a level flight speed. Just level off and the speed comes back to about 314, 315. Deliberately got a small amount of left turn here because I want to avoid going over the land so we can keep ourselves at sea level, close to sea level. Engine temperatures are high, but they're not, doesn't look like we're going to lose anything engine wise. That speed is definitely hovering around the 315 mark. Seems to be about max level speed with this configuration. I do have the default starting fuel, which I believe is 100%, which is going to mean a slightly higher nose-up attitude and therefore slightly reduced speed from an empty tank in order to maintain the same the same altitude, but it's probably going to be negligible, I would suggest. Oil temperature is right on the cusp. Very high oil temperature. That's the RPM creating all that friction and keeping the oil very, very hot. Radiators actually look good. Radiators are at about 105. I guess because they're fully open. Okay, we've probably been going for about 5 minutes already now. The clock is telling me that it's 10 past. And the mission started at 12 o'clock. So with those radiators in the fully open position, although we're slow-ish, 315, we can run on this configuration for quite some time. Temperatures aren't increasing. We'll keep it running for a couple more minutes. Take a look at our temperatures. They are not moving. Airspeed just about 320 when I'm in a slight dive, but I think, yeah, 315 seems to be bang on max level speed. So that's 3000 RPM, 3000 RPM, full boost, 18 pounds boost at sea level with the radiators full open. So far, I haven't actually been counting, but we've seemed to have gotten at least a good 5 minutes plus out of this. No sign yet that the engine is going to die. So we'll stop the test there, and we'll give the Merlin a rest, and then I'll respawn, and we'll do this with the radiators set to the automatic position. So here we are back in, and we need to just check on our rads. So if I hit the radiator toggle switch, they're opening up there. That's the full open. If I hit the toggle switch again, they are now in the automatic position. So my radiators are now in the automatic position. We will now get ourselves to about the same altitude. Keeping an eye on the clock now, that's 12:01. It's 1 minute since I spawned. And I'll level off. Right, and we'll push through 15 seconds past 12:01. There's my full RPM. And just advancing now on to 18 pounds at about 25 seconds past. Okay, so radiators now are in the automatic setting. And we'll see how much more airspeed we now get from this aircraft with the automatic configuration. Let's just have a look underneath. Yep, you can see the radiators are half closed. Should be low drag. Right, and there we are, just about level. And you can see we've managed to hold 320. So about 5 miles per hour extra speed. It's a lot less than I was expecting, actually. So full RPM, full boost. Check on the rads again. Now the rads have actually already now opened themselves fully up. So the rads are now full open, which means they're actually in the same position they were in when I had them fully open already before. The engine's heated up to the point where the rads have opened. And unless I call the engine now, they'll actually stay fully open. So I should be able to continue flying in this configuration as I did before. And my speed has now dropped back to 315, which is exactly the same speed I had before. This leads me to believe that because the aircraft is now configured in the same fashion automatically, that I will obtain the same result. So we'll run this for a couple of minutes, but there's no logical reason that I can think of why the result should be any different. Sorry, my track IR just playing up there. Okay, well we're coming up on what I think looks like 4 or 5 minutes, maybe 3 minutes actually, since the test started. There's no obvious change here, and the airspeed we're maintaining is exactly the same as before. Maybe a couple of miles per hour faster, although we were in a slight descent I think just then. Yeah, maybe 1 or 2 miles per hour, but that's the only difference. And we seem to be able to run for quite some time in this configuration. Okay, let's throttle back now. Right, the third part of this test, I'm going to do the same again. I'm going to respawn, and we're going to do maneuvers. So I'm going to have the radiator to the fully open position, which is not really a sacrifice in terms of airspeed, it seems. And we are going to do maneuvers. And I'm going to try and get the airspeed during the maneuvers up into this range here, 160 to 200 miles per hour. And we're going to see if that makes a difference in terms of how long we can run 3000 RPM and the 18-pound boost. Back in we are then, and I'll try and get this underway rapidly now. So let's get the RPM we wanted. We'll go for the fully open radiator. And just coming up 30 seconds now, so 12 o'clock and 30 seconds. We are at max configuration. Quick check of the radiators. They are open. Radiators are open. And now we're going to start maneuvering. So the purpose of these maneuvers is to bring the airspeed down. Now you can see it coming back now through 240. 220. Yep. Oh, that's 240 there, I think. 220. Right, there's the 200 mark. So this is kind of simulating a combat situation, shall we say, where we've got our airspeed down. And we'll turn back the other way. So there'll be some sections where the airspeed creeps up, and then there'll be some sections where the airspeed drops back down. Maybe we get a little bit faster, and then we do a bit of a climb. Of course, the airspeed always drops off in the climb. Descending. Try and keep us relatively close to sea level as much as possible. Back into a turn. Might just let the pilot nearly black out there. See the airspeed now dropping back through 240. Do a quick change of direction at a high nose-up attitude. There we go, lots of airspeed loss. A bit unstable too, that'll stop air flowing into the rudders. There we go, almost a stall, a bit of a buffet there. Excellent. Okay, that looks like about 1.5 minutes, maybe 2 minutes. Let the airspeed come back up for a second. Turn back the other way. Okay, gain some airspeed. And some cooling effect. Now we'll loop over. Nice loss of airspeed there. Okay, looks like about 3 minutes. Go into a climb. Okay, I'll let it stall. There we go. I think we may have just blown the engine in that stall. Yep. So airspeed is critical. We've got about 3.5 minutes, but basically, if you're going to run 3,000 RPM and 18 pounds boost, you cannot stall this aeroplane. Absolutely need to maintain forward airspeed. Otherwise, this will happen. Jolly good. Okay, so let's think about summarizing these three little tests. So let's have a wee summary of these tests. Basically, it seems to me that provided you maintain good airspeed, we're talking in that sort of 300 mile per hour range, you can run 3,000 RPM and 18 pounds boost for an extended period of time. I would suggest in excess of the 5 minutes that is specified in the pilot's handbook. I believe it's 5 minutes. But of course, those are just recommendations for pilots. They don't actually specify the precise number of minutes the engine can tolerate that configuration. But it seems to me that you can run it for a long time. Basically, keep your airspeed up, and away you go. Certainly down close to sea level, that is the case. I would suggest that having a stopwatch nearby could be handy to do this again, maybe at some higher altitudes to see if the situation changes. If you are maneuvering and your speed is getting below 240, 220, I suspect that time is going to come back below the 5 minute mark. And it certainly seems, as we saw, that if you stall the aeroplane and it's no longer breathing air in through the air intakes, you will blow that engine within a matter of seconds. So be very careful when running these configurations. If you're in a turn fight and you go high nose up to get a shot or to climb on something, you may want to bring your RPM back during that climb or bring your boost back, or a bit of both. What surprised me a little was the airspeed I was able to obtain. It looks like 315 indicated at sea level was my max level speed. The reason I'm surprised is because I know that the max level speed of the Spitfire 1A, which is really 3.5 year earlier model with the 100 octane, was 309 at sea level, or 312 at sea level. So I'm rather surprised that this aeroplane is only able to really maintain 315. I've had a bit of a look online at the usual suspect websites, Spitfire Performance being one of them, and yes, I'm aware that many people have issue with that website, but to be honest, for me, it's got the best kind of range of compiled data available. And there are some conflicting reports about what we should expect for this aircraft at level speed. The Merlin 61 aircraft seems like they were about the 315 to 320 range. The 66 looks like we should expect 329 to 336-ish. And the Merlin 71 seems to have been slower again on the deck. I'm not entirely sure what range of speeds we should expect on the deck. I've set the date in this mission for the 1st of June. It's a midday mission, so it's a relatively warm part of the day. I know that air density will play a role. But yeah, it's interesting that 315 was the figure I was getting. Maybe that's what it should be. All I can conclude with is I am surprised it was 315 and not something around the 330 mark or more. Anyway, I hope that was interesting for people. as is often the case, sometimes these sorts of videos can spark some debate, but if that happens, that happens. It's always interesting to see what people have to say. Anyway, hope it was fun. Another video for the Spitfire. Jolly good.